Welcome to Introduction to Logic with Dr. Cecilia Moon. In this video lecture, we will discuss the modern square of opposition and the operations of obversion, conversion, and contraposition. The modern square of opposition is a diagram that represents some of the logical relationships between A, E, I, and O-type categorical statements. The first thing to note about the modern square of opposition is that it takes the Boolean standpoint on universal statements. This means that the modern square of opposition presupposes that A and E-type statements do not have existential import. They do not claim that the subject of these statements exist. The modern square of opposition tells us that the type of statements that are diagonal to each other are contradictory statements with each other. This means that they have opposite truth values. So, if an A-type statement is true, then it's contradictory. O-type statement is false. This makes sense if you think about what each statement is saying. An A-type statement is saying that all S's are P's, without also saying that any S exists. The opposite of this is to say that an S exists and is not a P, which is what an O-type statement says. So, if an A-type statement is true, then an O-type statement must be false. And if an A-type statement is false, then an O-type statement must be true. This is also the case for E and I-type statements since they are contradictory statements with each other. When an E-type statement is true, then an I statement is false. This also makes sense if you think about what each statement says. An E-type statement says that no S are P, without also saying that any S exists. An I-type statement says the opposite of this by stating that something that is an S exists and that it is also a P. So if we have an E-type statement that is false, then it's contradictory. I-type statement will be true. This is helpful information for learning how to create and evaluate arguments, since you can use the modern square of opposition to create valid inferences by using the fact that one type of statement is either true or false as a reason for the conclusion that its contradictory statement has the opposite truth value. So we can argue that because all S are P is true, it follows that some S are not P is false. And if someone argues that because all S are P is true, it follows that some S are not P is true. You can conclude that this is an invalid argument since the modern square of opposition shows us that if an A-type statement is true, then an O-type statement must be false. The modern square of opposition also illustrates the logical relationship between contrary statements. Each statement that is adjacent to another statement is contrary to that statement. This means that, unlike contradictory statements, we cannot determine the truth value of one statement based on the truth value of its contrary statement. We will instead have to think about what each statement actually says, what the S and the P stand for in each statement, to figure out whether one type of statement would be true or false based on the truth value of another type of statement. This means that the truth value of each statement is underdetermined by the truth value of their contrary statements. We cannot determine the truth value of a contrary statement based on the truth of its contrary statement. This also means that, unlike contradictory statements, you cannot make valid immediate inferences based on the type of statement you have and the truth value of its contrary statement. So the modern square of opposition helps us more clearly understand which type of standard form categorical statement is contradictory to another type of standard form categorical statement, which allows us to make valid immediate inferences and check these kinds of immediate inferences, as well as allows us to identify which type of statements are contrary to a certain type of categorical statement, and so does not support the validity of immediate inferences with these contrary statements. Moving on to the topic of obversion, conversion, and contraposition. Obversion, conversion, and contraposition are operations that are performed on standard form categorical statements. They are rules that are used to transform a standard form categorical statement into another type of categorical statement. The operation or rule of obversion has two steps. The first step is to change the quality, not the quantity, of a standard form categorical statement. So, if a categorical statement has an affirmative quality, then you would change the quality of that statement to a negative statement, without also changing the quantity of that statement. The second step is to replace the predicate term with its term complement. The operation or rule of conversion has only one step. You simply switch the subject and predicate terms so that the predicate term becomes the subject term and the subject term becomes the predicate term in the new statement. The operation or rule for contraposition also has two steps. The first step is to switch the subject and predicate terms, like you would with conversion, but then you add the second step of replacing both the subject and predicate term with their term complement.
For example,
if you have an A-type statement such as all unicorns are horned creatures, then to apply the operation of obversion on this statement, you first change the quality of the statement, not the quantity. So, the quantifier all becomes no. Since both are universal quantifiers, we did not change the quantity of the statement. But we did go from an affirmative all statement to a negative no statement. So, we changed only the quality of the statement. Second, we replaced the predicate term, horned creatures, with its term complement, non-horned creature. A term complement stands for what a term is not. So, if we have a term such as horned creatures, we can create its term complement, what it is not, by adding the word non in front of that word. The result is the term complement non-horned creatures, which is the term complement for horned creatures. For the operation of conversion, we only make one step. We switch the subject and predicate terms. So if you have the A-type statement, all unicorns are horned creatures, then the only thing you would do when you perform the operation of conversion on this statement is to make the predicate term, horned creatures, into the subject term and make the subject term, unicorns, into the predicate term. The result is the A-type statement, all horned creatures are unicorns. To apply the operation of contraposition, you must apply two steps. First, switch the subject term with the predicate term and vice versa. So, for the A-type statement, all unicorns are horned creatures, the term horned creatures becomes the subject term and the term unicorns becomes the predicate term. The next step is to replace both the terms with their term complement. So, the subject term in our new A-type statement becomes non-horned creatures and the predicate term in our new A-type statement becomes non-unicorns. Let's now look at how the information in a categorical statement is changed by the operations of obversion, conversion, and contraposition. This is a chart of all four types of standard form categorical statements, along with the resulting statement when obversion, conversion, or contraposition is applied to each type of statement. I also included a Venn diagram, which depicts the information that each statement provides. For a Venn diagram of a categorical statement, we want to use two interlocking circles, where one circle stands for the category of things denoted by the subject term, and the other circle stands for the category of things denoted by the predicate term. So, everything that goes in the space of the S circle that does not overlap with the P circle are things that are only S. And everything that goes in the space of the P circle that does not overlap with the S circle are things that are only P. Furthermore, everything that goes in the overlapping space are things that are both S and P. But that's not all. You should also notice that the S circle can also be interpreted as a non-P circle, since an S is also a non-P. And the P circle can also be interpreted as a non-S circle, since a P is also a non-S. So, the S only space of the S circle is also a non-P only space, and the P only space of the P circle is also a non-S only space. Finally, the area outside the S and the P circle represents the space where things are both non-P and non-S. So, these are the possible interpretations for all the space represented by a Venn diagram. If a space is shaded, this indicates that nothing exists in that space for the category represented by the term associated with that space. If there is an X in a space in a Venn diagram, this means that at least one thing exists in the space that represents the category of things indicated by that space. Now that we know how to read a Venn diagram for categorical statements, let's look again at how the information in a categorical statement is transformed when we perform either an operation of obversion, conversion, or contraposition on a certain type of statement. Here we see what happens to the information in a categorical statement on which obversion is performed on it. Notice that all the diagrams look the same. This means that the operation of obversion does not change the content of the information from the original statement. This also means that all the resulting statements from the use of the operation of obversion will be logically equivalent. They mean the same thing or convey the same information. If we compare the results of performing conversion on each of the types of categorical statements, the result is that two statements are not logically equivalent. And if we look at the diagrams, we can see that the reason for this is because the operation of conversion flips the information that was conveyed in the original statement. If we look at the diagrams for contraposition, we can see that the result of two different types of statements are not logically equivalent with the original statement. And this is because the operation of contraposition flips the information in an E and I type statement. So, although with an E type statement, the area that is shaded is in the overlap where things are both S and P. In other words, things do not exist in this overlapping space between things that are S and things that are P. The resulting contrapositive of an E-type statement conveys the information that what does not exist are things that are both non-S and non-P. And although with an I-type statement, there is an X in the overlapping space, conveying that at least one thing exists that is both an S and a P, in the resulting contrapositive, the statement conveys that there is at least one thing that exists that is both a non-S and a non-P. So, we can see that with the operation of obversion, all the resulting statements will be logically equivalent with the results of the obversion. This also means that you can use obversion to create and check immediate inferences, since an argument that uses one type of statement as a premise and a logically equivalent statement as a conclusion will always be a valid argument. We can also see that one can legitimately use conversion only on an E and I type statement, since the result will be a logically equivalent statement. You cannot legitimately use conversion on an A or O type statement since you will not end up with a logically equivalent statement. Using conversion on an A or O type statement is, therefore, referred to as an illicit conversion. Finally, we can also see that one can legitimately use contraposition only on an A and O type statement since the result will be a logically equivalent statement. You cannot legitimately use conversion on an E or I type statement since you will not end up with a logically equivalent statement. Using contraposition on an E or I type statement is, therefore, referred to as an illicit contraposition. Note that you can also use legitimate conversions and contrapositions to create arguments that are immediate inferences, similar to the use of obversion to do so. The modern square of opposition conveys information about the logical relationship between A, E, I, and O type statements, relying only on the Boolean standpoint regarding universal statements, A and E type statements. The modern square of opposition illustrates how the contradictory to an A-type statement is an O-type statement and vice versa, and the contradictory to the E-type statement is an I-type statement and vice versa. Contradictory statements have opposite truth values. All the other relations are considered contraries, and the truth value of a contrary statement is underdetermined by the truth value of its contrary. We can also perform the operations of obversion, conversion, and contraposition on standard form categorical statements. Performing obversion, conversion, or contraposition transforms a statement into another type of statement, and with logically equivalent statements, the information is maintained while the form of the statement is changed, whereas with non-logically equivalent statements, the form and the information are both changed. Thank you for your attention, and
hi again. This is Kung Fu Logic Kitty. I hope you learned a lot, and remember, learning is a practice.